we have a series.
Problem? What's up? I don't dime anymore.
Right then, the MEG. Oh, the PG-13 MEG. I will review non-spoilers first, then go into spoiler territory for those that don't care or for those that have seen the film. First and foremost, it's probably best to clarify I haven't read the novels, and also to clarify exactly what kind of film I expected to see, as your expectations can colour your view of something, anything, especially a film. When I first heard about the MEG, Jason Statham, giant prehistoric shark movie, I thought, that sounds like insanity. B-movie cheese. Then I heard they were throwing $150 million at it, and I thought, that is insanity. B-movie cheese. The first trailer dropped and the marketing, to me, at the very least anyway, showed a movie that was very self-aware, very tongue-in-cheek and very fun. I went into this movie with those expectations because that's what the marketing gave me, and I wasn't disappointed in the slightest. It's important to note, this is not a good movie, on so many levels. I loved it, but it's not a good movie. Technically, there are some awful angles, weird close-ups, odd cutaways, and really janky dialogue. But the fact this movie knows exactly what it is, you forgive it, because it's just 2 hours of dumb, fun cinema. It has a reasonable cast, and there are some notable Chinese actors in it, one could assume anyway, due largely in part to it being funded by China. On the whole though, the cast do their job okay. They aren't great actors, but they aren't Sharknado bad, they are just fine. The little Chinese girl that you have seen in the trailers is, however, superb, and laughably does a better job than most. Jason Statham looks like he is having the time of his life, and I can imagine it now, the only thought running through his head, I'm in these beautiful parts of the world, being paid to be in a movie, fighting a giant CGI shark. Christ. The story is what you'd expect it to be, if you haven't read the novels anyway. Jason Statham is a washed up diving expert. Tragedy struck, and he hung up his flippers. New deep sea station is built, and tragedy strikes again, but convenience, it's Jason Statham's ex-wife that is in the tragedy and thus pulls him back into the fray. The movie is about the initial tragedy being the likely cause of a MEG, and then Jason Statham on a revenge mission, essentially. There are dumb side plots and love stories, but they are handled with some comedy and levity, so they aren't too intrusive. The bad though, Ruby Rose. Can't act. Worst actor in this movie, and due to her rising social media fame, is incredibly irritating every time she is on screen. I wanted her to die, and sadly, she did not. The movie recently went into some controversy over the fact it was rated PG-13 rather than an R rating. In honesty, it genuinely isn't hindered by this. You do see some blood and guts, and you see a severed arm, and if you were expecting a gigantic shark to be taking tiny chunks out of the people in the movie, size, perspective, it doesn't really make any sense. There are also some Asian influences running through the film, from music to specific scenes featuring solely Asian people. This is important to note because if it had been American instead, British, whatever, I don't think it would have come across as tongue-in-cheek as it did and as fun. I think it would have likely come across very cheap and tacky, so I'm glad this film was funded in part due to China. For those that have seen the movie, the beach scene is one of those, and the fat kid, just for some context. It has some awful, memeable lines, such as the awesome, when you go that deep, you take your life into your own hands. And of course, it's a good day to go fishing. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It isn't good, but it's good in the fact that it knows what it is. It's dumb, it's fun, it's cheesy. It's what you'd expect when you hear the transporter is in a movie fighting a giant shark. It does, however, have some janky CGI here and there, but it's forgivable because it's a heightened reality of silliness. So, non-spoilers out the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty and discuss spoilers. You have been warned. I've pretty much covered everything But I wanted to say once again just how much fun this movie is. I was laughing at it and with it. The film is very self-aware. It is very paint by numbers on an action movie level, but it works because it knows what it is. I had fun with this movie the moment it started, despite the director's horrendous angle choice on the submarine. The close-ups, the strange lighting, and bizarre cuts are all really not good, and Turtletaub should honestly work on his craft a little bit more. Jason Statham's line delivery here and there is really odd, and he can't decide what accent he has throughout the movie. But you can see he's having fun, not taking himself seriously, and just comes across a nice bloke. I am not blinded by the fact that I think this is all purely down to my expectations for the movie being what they were, but I also think the marketing did a good job at conveying that as the expectations we all should have had. If, however, my expectations were any higher, it wouldn't have worked. The Meg treads water in parts with some off-pacing, but overall, it's a great movie. It's just dumb, fun, summer blockbuster territory, and I hope this signifies the start of more like this. It would be nice to see some more dumb fun movies peppered in with the gritty dramas or the superhero movies that are swamping the theatres in this day and age. This, for me, is a highly recommended movie. I don't think you'd be disappointed or regret spending your money, so far as you go into it with the expectations that I did. If you have seen it though, what did you think? Did you share some of my views or did you disagree entirely? And for those people that have read the novels and you have seen the movie, I really would be keen to hear your thoughts, because I know a lot of people, when they initially saw the marketing for this film, having read the novels, were incredibly disappointed by the tongue-in-cheek vibe that this film was giving them. So I want to hear whether this had any relation to the books at all, because from my perspective, being an outsider, it achieved what it set out to. But I know for those people that have read the novels, this could be so far removed as an adaptation that it could be really quite offensive to those people that are fans of the novels. I will say this though, it is well worth 2 hours of your time and the price of admission. I really don't regret spending my money on this. I think it was a great way to spend 2 hours, and I had a lot of fun with this film. It's worthwhile to take your kids to see this as well. I don't think there's that much horror in this film. I think there is enough for you as an adult to enjoy it, but as it is a PG-13, I don't really think kids will be that terrified by this film, because the CGI is not the best, so you can definitely tell that it is clearly not a giant shark. So if you are wondering if you can take your kids, because I know a few people have asked this here on my channel before for some movies, I think it would be absolutely fine. I think in today's day and age, children know the difference, and I think the CGI being what it was, I don't think it's going to cause an issue with their mental state at all. But guys, please do let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. This movie has been panned before it was even released due to the nature of the R-rated scenes apparently being cut. I would be keen to see what was cut from the movie and what would potentially be included on a Blu-ray, because from the PG-13 perspective, there was quite a lot of blood and gore, so I would be keen to see what Turtletaub cut. But all in all, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you did enjoy this video, then please consider leaving it a like and subscribing to the channel for more reviews in the future. If you don't follow me on Twitter or Instagram, then please do over at Mr. H Reviews. You can see what I'm up to, not really on Instagram, but mainly Twitter. But as always, guys, I've been Mr. H, and I will catch you in the next video.
Of course you would think it's a she.
It's a great day to go fishing.
He's kidding, right? Are you saying we opened up a superhighway for giant sharks?
No, just the Meg. I'm gonna make this thing bleed.